On July 7th, the fastest, funniest superhero movie of the summer arrives. Critics rave it's the best Spider-Man ever.
Should we tell everyone?
What are you hiding?
Spider-Man soars.
It's insane. I know.
5 stars. A Spider-Man movie for everyone.
You know they're talking about you, right?
Huh?
Spider-Man Homecoming. Rated PG-13.
Welcome to Aaron Talks. Today I'm going to be giving you a review of Spider-Man Homecoming. Why, you may ask? Well, because when I was a kid I primarily read 3 comics. Batman, Spider-Man, the X-Men. So naturally I have a big opinion when it comes to big screen adaptations of my favorite comics from when I was a kid. Now, before I go into my review, I kind of want to talk a little bit about how I'm going to review this, because I feel like so much positive stuff is already out there about the review, or about the movie rather, that I want to focus on the things that I personally didn't care for. Now, that's not to say I didn't love the movie, because I did. However, Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, is still my favorite Spider-Man film, even though I love this new one. And I kind of talk about why this new one is only number 2 rather than number 1 on my personal list of Spider-Man films. So to begin with, I just kind of want to say, I know they were going more for like the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff, and I did read quite a bit of that when it first came out. However, I've not really read a lot of it lately. So characters like Miles Morales don't really mean that much to me. However, I do at some point plan on reading those comics. So if you'd like a review of those, once I do eventually get around to them, comment below. Next thing I'd like to say is this. There are really only 2 things that keep this movie from being number 1 on my list. That's what I'm primarily going to talk about. So, what are those 2 things? First and foremost, J. Jonah Jameson is such an integral part of the history of Spider-Man, especially for someone like me that grew up reading him in the early 90s. So, to think that there's a Spider-Man movie that exists without the character of J. Jonah Jameson, without Peter working at the Daily Bugle, is kind of like sacrilege to me. Just because you look at J.K. Simmons' phenomenal performance in those first 3 Spider-Man movies, and it's like, oh my God, he should play this character till the end of time. Yes, I'm aware he's going to be in the DCEU as Commissioner Gordon, and that is great. I'm excited to see that. However, I would have loved to have seen a version of Spider-Man Homecoming that actually included the character, just because I love the character, I loved his portrayal so much. I feel like I'm not alone on this. Comment below if you agree with what I'm saying. Another thing I want to bring up, and this is probably the biggest thing for me. No Uncle Ben? Okay, granted, I get it. You don't want to retread the same water. We know about Uncle Ben, especially if you read the comics, especially if you've seen Spider-Man or The Amazing Spider-Man. I get it. We know about Uncle Ben. However, the problem is, you need that with great power comes great responsibility line. At least in my opinion, you do. You're losing something of the character when you don't have that. So, I think what I would have liked to have seen would have been a version of the film that doesn't specifically have Uncle Ben in it, but maybe during that moment when Peter's looking into the puddle, spoilers, by the way, when Peter's looking into the puddle and you see that homemade mask and it's a reflection of his face and the homemade mask, why couldn't, before you heard Peter say, come on Peter, come on Peter, come on Spider-Man, which was the line from the movie, why couldn't you, before you heard that, have heard an echoing voice of Uncle Ben saying, with great power comes great responsibility? I'm just saying, that's all I needed. That would have made the movie that much better for me. Just because I feel like what you've got in this movie is Tony Stark kind of stepping into the Uncle Ben role, but saying, you know, I wanted you to be better than me. That's his version of trying to inspire Peter to say, with great power comes great responsibility. I just don't think it works as well, my opinion. Now, I love Marvel, and I love what they've done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That said, I just don't know that Spider-Man Homecoming was as good as it could have been. That also said, I feel that as a result, this right here, Spider-Man 2 from the Sam Raimi trilogy, is not going to get usurped anytime soon. I mean, between Alfred Molina's performance, J.K. Simmons' performance, the fact that Aunt May's the appropriate age, and we've already got a movie that gives us that with great power comes great responsibility speech, kind of feel like the Raimi trilogy might have Homecoming beat. My humble opinion, I still think Homecoming is number 2 on my list of all-time favorite Spider-Man movies. In fact, if you'd like, I'll do an entire series on videos that deal with how I feel about all of the Spider-Man movies that have come out so far. So, that's my mini review of Spider-Man Homecoming. If you haven't seen the film, I highly recommend seeing it. It is an awesome film. I did see it twice on opening day, which is not something I normally do. So, if you like this video and you'd like to see more from me, click the subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I post new videos. You can expect to see lots of geeky things on my channel, reviews for comic book movies, and I'll even throw in reviews for classic movies because really and truthfully, as much as I'm a geek, I'm a movie geek more than anything else. So, if you'd like to see more from Aaron Talks, then subscribe and comment, and I'll see you guys next time.